top 10 hottest comics of the week based off of Cover Price's data. That's right. Cover Price comes out with a top 10 list on Monday. Our show is live on a Friday. We like to talk about that top 10 list, but Chris, he digs in the information and picks out his 3 most interesting books from that list. And we have those books this week. But first, before we get into it, we are going to go through the top 10 hottest comics of the week right here, right now. Check it out. Okay, at number 10, we have Teen Titans number 1. I think that was the first Red X appearance. That was number 1, I think, a couple weeks ago. At number 9, we have Batman 96, Jorge Jimenez design variant. Chris, you were talking a lot about inflating the market. I have a feeling that's exactly what's happening with this one right now. There's a lot of speculation saying that Clown Hunter, this is his first appearance, is the Red X. And there are people that are pumping this book up to $400. I don't know if you saw that. $400. Anyways, Amazing Spider-Man number 361 is a classic. You all should know it because it's the first appearance of Carnage. Number 7 is Captain America number 25. This makes sense because this is the first time Sam Wilson becomes Captain America. Star Wars, The High Republic number 1. This is the Hans variant. This will not go away from the top 10 list. I have to say, this is the big winner as in terms of cover. It's, for me personally, it's not my favorite. I would love to hear Mickey and Chris's opinion on that. At number 5, Love is Love. This is another interesting book. We'll get into that in a bit. At number 4 is The Electric Black number 1 variant. I did not know anything about this book until this week. At number 3 is Mystic number 15, which is another book you should not invest in. This is, they say that there's a Harry Potter cameo in here. Not the case at all, everybody. At number 2 is Star Wars, The High Republic number 1, the Phil Noto second print. This is a cool book, guys. This is the second print. It takes a page from the book, but it has a ton of first cover appearances from these Jedis. And at number 1 is the Electric Black number 1. I believe that's the regular cover. The previous Electric Black was the 1 in 10. Chris, Mickey, an interesting list this week, huh?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know, Mickey.
Hey,
if you want,
I know you've been on the cover B variant of the High Republic. I do feel like the Hans variant is my favorite, but that cover B variant is right there for me as well. I mean,
I love it.
So I hear you, man. I mean, I think that cover B could have got a bit more love than it did.
The Hans is it's the clear winner. Mickey, before Chris gets into it, we want to hear what your thoughts are on this top 10 list.
Yeah, I mean, definitely some interesting books. Like I don't actually know anything about what was the number 1, and it had a number 4 as well. What is it called?
It's called The Electric Black, and
yeah,
you know what?
I don't know anything about that series, but maybe if Chris talks about it, I'm definitely going to learn a thing.
You will absolutely learn a thing in a few minutes. We promise you that.
The one that speaks to me the most as a quick story is definitely ASM 361, because when I was a young kid collecting comics for the first time, that was like the key issue that me and my brother happened to buy back in the day. So that's the one that, like, when I got back into the hobby and like opened up the box and, oh, what do I have from back in the day? That was like the first, hey, I have this book. And so that one is one that will never leave the collection. It's like, a emotional attachment to it. The first key I have. So a special place in my heart for that book.
Now, I can't see everything on your wall there because they're rather small, but is it back there? It is.
It's that one. But that one is the second print.
I can't even make it out. I can't even see. But it's okay. It's okay. You know what? How about this? I believe you, but I just want to see it. There we go. All right.
Yep.
I like how you have everything placed there. All right. Anyways, moving on. Okay, sorry, guys. I do have to mention that Planet Arizona has 3 out of 10 of these books. Who else? And B. Schnur got the Amazing Spider-Man 361 thanks to Kid Collector. I'd love to hear about that. Love to hear how that happened. Anyways, Chris, it's time for you to dissect this list. Give us your 3 top picks, your 3 most interesting picks. Let's put it that way. 3 most interesting picks. Have at it.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, anytime we see independent books on this list, I'm always like, let's go, independents. I'm happy that they're there this week. But the reasoning why they're there is a bit, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're going to start with my number 3 pick. And I'm sharing sentiments with you, Mickey. I picked Amazing Spider-Man 361 is one to talk about. By the way, I own the second print as well with that silver background. that book has been getting hot on its own. And I love the silver background, by the way. So, but look, this is a book that's been climbing for a while. The main thing that's going on right now, though, is Venom 2. We got the official name, Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. We know that Carnage is going to be in this film, and we want a trailer. We want this movie not to keep being pushed back either, but it's really pushed this book along. How far along? Well, a high CGC sale this last week hit $1,385.
No, what?
8.
Jesus.
Right? So, yeah, it's, look, this is, I've been talking about this a lot lately in videos on my channel. The future is now, guys, and you have to take in all the other variables with what was going on with comic books in whatever era they were produced. And we know that the early 90s, we know that for some of the books, there's millions of copies out there. But the bottom line is not about print run. It's about the supply available on the market and the demand currently. And right now, it proves that people are holding on to this book while the demand continues to grow. And it's just driving this book up. And I'm happy to see it be done. And it proves that, look, anything can gain value. It doesn't matter, especially with comic books, what era it's from. This is an iconic character that is, I mean, once we get him in a film, if it continues to have the same success in that franchise, I think this younger generation is going to keep demanding this character as well.
Oh, absolutely. And especially if there's going to be a tie-in somehow, which is looking most likely to the MCU. Yep. I mean, come on. Carnage is in the MCU.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Mickey, you have any additional, considering you are an owner of one? I think I sold mine back in the day.
I mean, this one is like, Chris, you were talking about, the Copper comics and stuff and them starting to increase in value. And I feel like, to me, like ASM 300, I feel like that's like the Hulk 181 of the Copper generation. Like, I feel like that's going to be a desired book for forever, from here on out for comic book collectors. And with like ASM 361, I feel like it's kind of in the same boat. I mean, not quite, Carnage, not quite at that Venom level, but as far as like notable characters that were created in the 90s, I mean, it almost doesn't get any bigger than him. So I feel like this is one that, it's everyone's excited because we got a movie and it's definitely going to continue to go up for that. But Carnage as a character, he doesn't feel like he's going anywhere in terms of like Marvel canon,
I mean, who else? I mean, especially with Marvel, but who else? I mean, Deadpool brought in 1990. So, and then there was Carnage. Like, who else do you have that you can say in the same breath is Deadpool and Carnage? I think those are the two right there for at least that decade. Yeah,
that's a good point. I never thought of it like that. Pete Keel has 20 ASM 361s. That's a pretty impressive right there. And Matt picked up a 361 when he got back in the hobby for $10. That is a good
nice find,
pickup, man. That is a nice pickup. Good for you. All right. Your second pick, Chris.
All right. Number 2 on this list. And then again, guys, I know I'm kind of laughing, but you know me, I still don't hate. I don't hate, but I am gonna laugh if I find it humorous. All right. So don't mind me. Number 2 on the list is Love is Love. This is the IDW book from 2016, guys. All right. So there's been an announcement that Harry Potter is going to get a live action TV series from HBO Max. Now, I don't even know if that announcement is 100% solidified. All right. But people are going crazy to find, and this is what is even crazier. I mean, Harry Potter has no ties to comic books whatsoever. I mean, you have movie characters or franchises that appear in movies and then they'll appear in comics or something. Like Harry Potter is not a character that was ever really tied into comics in any way, any form or fashion. But for some reason, this announcement has said, oh, well, is he in a comic book? Okay, here's why this book is hot. Because of that reason. There's a 1-page pinup by Jim Lee of Harry and his, fellow characters from the films that fans are calling his first appearance in comics. Now, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what this book's about, but my take on that one-page pinup was there's a theme here with the love is love. They got the rainbow flag. That theme was just brought to a one-page pinup by Jim Lee with some notable characters to pay homage to the characters and to make the love is love statement, the statement that they're trying to make, right? So it's just absolutely crazy because that alone has collectors looking at this book. A high sale CGC sold at $9.8, $250. A 302 increase in online sales. Now, for perspective, it was only 13 books that sold, but that means that only 4 books sold the week before. So that obviously shows a jump. I know when you look at the percentage alone, it's like, whoa, 300%. Well, it's still only 13 books, but still, it's a large jump. And to your point, Jeff, you brought up the Mystic book. That's another one that was just like there's some character with a wand. I'm not even going to get into it because it's not on my list that people are seeking. Oh, well, there's Harry Potter in a comic book.
Don't buy it, people.
Here's what I have to say about this book. I'm not mad. I think when you get stuff like this and when you get speculators or collectors taking this type of information and almost reacting on it to where a random book that you could probably have found for $5 or less is now selling, for in a 9.8 for $250, and there's all this hype around it when there's no concrete anything there. I find it humorous because it just shows how reactionary we are. But what most people do in these situations is they start pointing a finger and calling it, it's speculators inflating the market. It's, market manipulation. This is ruining the hobby and all this stuff. But look, here's the thing. If you didn't pick this book up until now, I don't have anything to say to you because why would you even want this book, right?
Yeah.
Unless you're a diehard Harry fan and you're really clinging to the notion that this is somehow Harry Potter's first appearance in comics. All I'm trying to say is, look, this is part of the hobby. It is. And it's driving, right now, this is driving the secondary market. It's driving the success in the spotlight of independent companies. And I'm all for it. So that's why I'm saying no hate. It's all good. I just really find it funny because if it was me, I'd need a little bit more concrete something there before I really start speculating on a book like this. But hey, look, I'm going to end on this. I just really hope that whoever paid the $250 for that 9.8, I really hope they're a big Harry Potter fan. Let me just say that.
Me too. But here's the thing with this book, I'll be honest. The positive for this is the message is getting out there. Love is love because
yes.
You're right. One Shot Comics. I think the book was a benefit for the Orlando nightclub shooting a few years ago.
Oh, right.
It's getting a good message out there. Like honestly, love is love. It's got the pride flag on there. I think that's fantastic because it's getting that publicity now. Yeah. And it may be for the wrong reasons for us as collectors, but you know what? You said it, Chris. I said this is dumb. Don't buy into it. But you know what? If you want to buy into it, buy into it. But if you think that you're going to turn it around for $1,000, $2,000 in 6 months, I don't know about that. Mickey, you have anything you want to add?
It's interesting because while you were talking about it, it made me think of some things and go with me on this one. But I wonder if there's this idea of because Star Wars is, obviously it's doing its franchise on Disney Plus. So, okay, we're going to have this property that goes on for years and years. And same with the MCU. And, we're always going to get, with Hollywood, we're always going to get reboots. We're always going to have Godzilla and King Kong. We're always going to have, some version of Transformers going to roll around and Ninja Turtles eventually and et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like as Hollywood continues to redo franchises and we always continue to pull from these properties, anything that exists in comic book in terms of pop culture character, RoboCop, Harry Potter, whatever you want to call it, I feel that those books are just, there's going to be people who chase them, and it's going to be a thing because if it's in comics like that, and these properties are out there in pop culture, there's going to be a market that wants to chase them. So maybe that's part of why, if people are identifying this as the first appearance of Harry Potter, like someone out there is thinking, hey, at some point we're going to get another Harry Potter at some point, so I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. What if Harry Potter is truly introduced into like his own comic book or something like that? What then do the collectors, how then will the collectors look at this book? I personally think it's going to probably drive this book irrelevant outside a few of those people that want to argue just to argue and say, nope, that's his first appearance, when it's not even in story. It has nothing to do with anything, like, it's just a publicity to taking an iconic character, doing a little pinup for a publicity of a message. So I don't know. I'm wondering if that would render this null if we actually finally get some type of Harry Potter comic book series or something like that.
Yeah. I think you're going to have the people who are like, no, this is the first appearance, and they're going to say that this is it. And then that'll be the whole Hulk 180, 181 debate.
Oh, here we go. All right. With that being said, we're going to move on to the third and final book from the top 10 hottest comics list. Chris, what is your third choice here?
All right. So we got some more independent books, and this is number one on the list. And this is a lot more, not a, kind of a laughing matter here where we can kind of have a little, smirk and laugh at something. This one is much more substantial, and this is the Electric Black number one. Obviously the variant, the 1 in 10 variant, and this cover A was on the list. This was the number one book. That's rare for an independent book. This is a Scout comic that came out in 2019. So again, just like you, Jeff, I don't know much about this book. Reading like the synopsis, it seemed really interesting. And this might be one I'm going to be looking for, like maybe in a trade paperback, just to read. But the reason why this got hot was because at Scout Comics themselves announced that the comic is being optioned for an adult TV cartoon series, which I think is very unique. So, but the amount of demand that drove for this book is what was really, like kind of surprising to me. 362% increase in sales. Now you got a high CGC 9.8 that sold for only $80. So I'm assuming this is still affordable. We don't have the raw values at hand still. But look, I've said this before too. Books being on this list, it's not always about them. Oh, they're jumping in price or they're hundreds or thousands of dollar books. It's just to show that people are out there paying attention. And it's a beautiful thing to notice for this hobby. Because look, I'm sure there's people that see that anytime a book is optioned, they want to go buy it to speculate on it, and maybe they're going to flip it. But I also believe there are true-to-heart collectors that really enjoy the different mediums and how the medium of the visual arts when it comes to film and live action, TV, art, really pairing and helping along the comic book genre. And I hear people all the time saying, oh, the people that watch the movies, they don't read the comics and all that. And look, I'm sure there are those people out there too, but I'm going to say, I've said this before, I'm going to say in the game. I know for a fact that so many people, young and old, are getting introduced to properties, whether it's by their favorite Hulu or Netflix TV show, or whether it's by, Endgame or these movies that are coming out in the theater, and they're coming out of the theater and they're like, so who are these characters? My wife, who is, Mickey was talking about, earlier in the show, talking about having, I'm tired of my wife giving me dirty looks every time she's trying to talk about comics. Like, okay, come on now. Like, she's over here, she really enjoys the Marvel stuff, the MCU. And she's always asking, did this happen in the comic? Did that happen? Like, who are these people? What happened in the comic books? And no, she's not going out and buying comics, but it just goes to show my kids, their whole lives, they're now teenagers and they're still watching the movies, watching the shows, and then coming to me, hey, looking through my boxes. Do you have this, or this? Because, we're going to their Marvel Unlimited. Look, there is a synergy here going on with these things being optioned and these books being there as collectibles and as something to read. And I'm sorry, there are more people than people give credit for that are really buying into this hobby because it is now multifaceted. It's not just a nerd hobby where you go to a comic book store and geek out. It's in your TV, it's on your TV, it's on the big screen, it's in the books. And I'm saying this is an amazing time to be a collector for all of these reasons. And that's my take from this pick right here, the Electric Black. And for me, what did I say when I was just talking about the book? Now I'm going to probably go on Amazon or something and try to see if there's a trade paperback, because I'm interested in reading it. And then I'm going to want to go watch the TV show. So.
Dude, that is well said. And I never conceptualized, my daughter's 5, right? She's just learning to read. I never conceptualized that maybe when hearing that your boys are doing that, maybe my daughter's going to be doing that with my collection too. That is awesome. That is awesome. And you're spot on that it's bringing more people into the hobby. It totally is. Absolutely. People want to learn about this. So I don't know.
And let me just say this too, because I feel people do this to paint it as something that's negative when they say people that go and see the movies don't even read the comics. Let's just say, hypothetically, for the 100% of people that go and see a Marvel movie in the theaters, let's say 10, and again, I'm sure the number is bigger than this, but let's just say 10 of them are us. They're people like us, right? But let's say 5% of them are people that come out, are like I said, are like my kids or something that, or my wife even, that, oh, now I have some interest. What if that 5% is the one that comes out and says, oh, I'm going to go find this in a comic. And then there's 85% of people that are just moviegoers, just wanting to watch the movie. How is that bad for the hobby if still 5% of people that were never into comic books before are now interested? It's a win-win altogether.
But it's becoming so ingrained in pop culture. You have major news outlets that are doing stories on these characters and the backstories and the comics. You have newspapers and things like that have their own section with all of this stuff explaining where these characters come from. So it's people that are that 5%. It's probably more than 5%. But these people are coming that are not us. People are coming to learn more about these characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the X-Men. For civil rights, you know what I mean? Like people are gonna, my mom's interested in that stuff, like knowing what Stan Lee did and push. It goes far beyond that, and that's such a broad and general and just an ignorant statement to be like, it's people who go to the movies. All the people that go to these movies don't read the comics. That's bullshit.
Yeah, and to your point too, I actually even talked about another video this week where I was talking about Berserker. And I tapped a little bit into the idea of Keanu Reeves, he's going to be in this comic book and that sort of thing. And I know that there's some part of the community that's like, oh, well, that's, why is he coming in here and blah, 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 and that sort of thing. But I don't see why anyone would see that as a problem. Like him using his celebrity to draw attention to the comic book industry, I feel like is only going to be a good thing overall.
Yeah.
You're going to get other people. If anything, it brings so much credibility to comic books, like that this is an art form and a medium that you should, you should explore, and for a lot of people, there's a little bit of a bigger barrier to entry in comic books than television or movies. So I think anything that can help people, take the leap to comic books is a good thing.
Totally. I mean, that book is selling 600,000 copies.
Yeah.
Right? And good luck getting the 1 in 1,000.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're exactly right. It's bringing positive attention.
Yeah, I agree with that 100% too. Another example I'll use, and it's not about movies or live action, but the hip hop variants, the Marvel hip hop variants, and this is coming from me, who I grew up in an environment, that was a bit rough and rugged, and I'm a bit of a, I don't really bring out talk about swag. I don't really bring out all my swag or my past life here on my channel when I can geek out and talk about comic books. But, comic books break cultural boundaries. You know, and I literally, and this is no joke, like this really happened. I brought this up in a couple videos when I was getting trolled on my channel to just try to say, like, anyways, I'm not going to get in that. I literally saw somebody in the hood cutting up dope, reading the comic book, and then going out and hustling. All right. So, and I'm not trying to generalize or stereotype here, because I first started talking about hip hop variants. What I'm trying to say, though, is culturally, comic books are breaking those boundaries. And I think there's a something that when those the hip hop variants were coming out, it really, I think, brought to light those people that might not, you know, like me. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was like, I've always enjoyed comics, but how do I talk about them? So, you know, there's probably a lot of those people that are into the hobby, but maybe they don't feel like they fit into this, you know, comic books are for nerds or for whatever stereotype it is. And there's these things that are opening doors saying it is more mainstream. It is for so many different types of people, and you could just be yourself. I mean, we have so many different personalities. I think all three of us here right now are probably extremely different personalities. We have lots of different personalities in the chat. Young, old, man, woman, different cultural backgrounds, ethnicities, race, religion, whatever it may be. And something like that with, you know, Keanu Reeves buying into this and it being such a hit speaks to that. I don't see anything negative about any of this. You could call it marketing ploys. You could call it gimmicks. Go ahead. Sell me the gimmick. Sell me the marketing. If it means that the comic book industry that I love so much can continue to thrive and can continue to allow me to have a platform on here and to have books that I can read for the rest of my life.
Yep. Well said. Yep. And I think that is a perfect bookend to our top 10 hottest comic books of the week.